No, not a measuring stick for myself. I mean, I think for this team, going into a hostile environment, as you said, playing against a great quarterback, a good offense, great team. I mean, a team that has been the team of the last 2 years or the last few years, I'd say, and just knowing how explosive they are, the star power they have. As I said, going into their environment, it's a great challenge for us as a team. Challenge for our offense and our communication. Challenge for us to just stand and play in the ups and the downs, and excited to go into it and be a great atmosphere and ready to go at it.
Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Cowboys, 7-2. We'd regard them as the best team in the league right now, but for that, I still don't know what the hell happened game against the Denver Broncos. They go into Kansas City. It's a great couple of games for the Cowboys to let everyone know who they are. They got the Chiefs, then they got the Raiders on Thanksgiving, 4 days apart. Can the Chiefs look, we talk so much about the Kansas City offense. Can the Chiefs defense handle what the Cowboys are able to throw at them, both running and passing? I'm not sure this Chiefs defense, which has gotten better in recent weeks, I'm not sure they're ready for what's about to happen to them.
You know, Mike, I found it really interesting. On Sunday night, midnight, I spoke to Patrick Mahomes just about what a weird season this has been so far. And one of the things I asked him in the course of that conversation was basically, do you ever just sort of ask yourself, maybe stare at the ceiling at night? Do you ever say, man, what's wrong? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with us? And he said, no, I don't. And that says something to me that I really like. And that is that when you're a big-time athlete and having really smart people game plan against you and do all these things to try to stop you, well, you know, sometimes they are going to be able to stop you. And that is what's happened to Mahomes, I think, at times this year. And I only bring that up because I am totally fascinated with what the Dallas Cowboys are going to do. You saw what Dan Quinn did last week in totally undressing Matt Ryan. Now he's going to face a better offense this week in Kansas City than he faced last week against the Atlanta Falcons. But I'm telling you, I think the most interesting part of this game is what is Dan Quinn going to do with Micah Parsons? Because we've seen it at times this year. Micah Parsons is like the old monster back. You know, you go back to Michigan State football in the 60s, and an old coach named Duffy Doherty would use a guy, he'd play all over the formation, and they call him a monster back. And now Micah Parsons has the ability to rush the passer, to play linebacker, a classic linebacker, or to stop the run. And to me, that is going to be the big question this week. What does Dan Quinn do with Micah Parsons? And can Micah Parsons neutralize the most gifted quarterback playing right now?
Well, and, you know, the Chiefs have struggled, and they finally had a breakthrough game on Sunday night. I don't know how much stock to put in it. I still don't know how healthy Patrick Mahomes is, and I wonder if he's lost just a little bit of that edge that made him the guy who could keep a play alive just long enough to whip the ball sidearm style into an open receiver's hands 30 yards down the field. I feel like those openings aren't there like they used to be, although Sunday night it seemed different against the Raiders than it has been. But even if he's at full capacity, I look at this Cowboys team. You talk about Micah Parsons and what they've done defensively with Dan Quinn and offensively what they're capable of doing. They are balanced. The Chiefs are not and have not been. And this is a great opportunity for the Chiefs to kind of reestablish themselves in a big spot. It's going to be that late afternoon Sunday game with a gigantic audience. I mean, this is a great pre-Thanksgiving Sunday game. We couldn't ask for anything better. The once every 4 years, although in theory it can happen more frequently than that now because of the 17th game and the formula for coming up with it. But this idea of Chiefs-Cowboys, it's always an interesting game, dating back to when they both were in Dallas as the Texans and the Cowboys, and the Texans got the hell out of town because they realized they weren't going to win the hearts and minds and wallets of Dallas. It's a great game. And this is a time, a rare occasion, really, when both teams are operating at a really high level to make the game even more memorable.
Mike, in the span of 5 days, the Dallas Cowboys are basically going to play the biggest role, I think, of any single team in determining the fate of the AFC West this year. They've got the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday in Kansas City, and then on a short week for both them and the Raiders, they've got the Raiders on Thanksgiving with that late afternoon window from Jerry World. And a couple of weird things about this, at least in my mind. You remember 8 years ago, because that's how often, cross-conference teams play at teams in the other conference. 8 years ago, in 2013, the Dallas-Oakland at the time, the Dallas-Oakland game was also the late afternoon window on Thanksgiving. So this is the second consecutive trip to Texas that the Raiders have had that short week game on the road and have played the Cowboys. But and look, the Raiders have a lot to prove in the coming few days, because they have had 2 bad games in a row. But I get the feeling that Kansas City has started to solve its problems, Mike. And I think you're going to see a classic. This is not going to be a blowout on either side. I'll almost guarantee you. I think this is going to be a great 4-quarter football game.
It's got the highest over-under of the week, according to PointsBet, at 56.5, and it could get there and maybe even beyond, because both offenses very, very capable of moving the ball and scoring points. And, yeah, a great week for the Cowboys, who have been taken seriously. They had the setback against that AFC West team from Denver, which caused folks to say, what's really going on here? But then they completely stomped the Falcons to reestablish themselves. So, the Cowboys, I think, Peter, before we take our break, I thought they're locked in at the 4 seed. They have a chance to even get the 1 seed. We're going to learn a lot about whether or not the Cowboys are ready to be the best team in the NFC based on what they do Sunday afternoon and Thursday afternoon in games that probably kick off right about at the same time. We'll learn a lot about who these Cowboys are ready to try to become.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.